It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. You're really going to open that as I do
I've been waiting for so long.
Okay, I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen. You heard his dumbass already. Oh, yeah, now? As we get ready to crack some cold ones, which Corey already preemptively did.
Hey, you did too.
Movies. I did before, so it doesn't exist because within the world of this podcast, I haven't opened a beer, even though I'm going to start sipping on one pretty soon. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to do our same stupid shit. It's taken us a while to get into this one, so we're just going to roll with it. Corey, how are you doing? And what you been up to? What are we drinking? The typical bullshit.
Busy last week. Last time we recorded, we were right about to go to Kendrick.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Went to Kendrick.
It was a big fucking day.
It was a fun-ass day. Great fucking concert. Had a great time. I drank a lot of vodka.
Watched a lot of Love on the Spectrum afterwards.
Yep, got to T-Bell. Watched Love on the Spectrum. So it was a great concert. We've had the NFL draft.
I'm really excited for the NFL draft to be done so I can stop hearing about it. I'm one of those people, I'll check at the end of the day. I'm not going to watch the draft itself because it just gets to be so monotonous, and I'm only really rooting for my two teams, so I don't really care too much.
Yeah, Vikings had a good draft.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. But then, we got the Wolves playing right now against the Lakers. They're down 9-7, but... cooking there. The Wild are doing their thing in the playoffs. It's
tied 2-2 with Vegas, now going to Vegas.
Yeah, big sports week, big week. So... glad to be back. Today we're drinking Brightside Sea Salt Lemon Lager from Indeed Brewing out of Minneapolis.
It's kind of like a Liney's Summer Shandy. Almost.
Yeah, this is really good. This is a good boat beer. Out on the pontoon, go to a sandbar, rip through some of these.
It's good summer beer.
And
we're starting to get nice weather back in Minnesota.
Yeah, except for tomorrow, which is supposed to be just insane storms. Possibly baseball-sized hail. So I'm like,
whenever people talk about the weather, I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. When people are like, we're gonna get 8 inches of snow, and I'm like, no, we're not. We'll get a dusting, and people are gonna move and make so many adjustments to their own plans and schedule for a dusting of snow. I'm like, I will deal with the consequences when the consequences are here.
For real, dude.
Yeah.
I think you'd be great in hurricane country. I think you'd thrive.
There's a hurricane coming.
I'm not gonna believe it until my house is. It's okay.
Street lamps are going up.
My mailbox is floating away.
Oh,
okay.
All right. Well.
Good.
Shit. I should have prepared.
Anyways,
if we have baseball-sized hail, I don't have a garage to park in. My car.
Oh no, I don't either.
My car is cooked.
Yeah, I've already had to replace my windshield twice from hail. One was a rock, I think, the other one was hail. So
that's awesome.
Maybe I'll go put some cardboard.
Put an umbrella over it.
That's an awesome idea. How would you propose that I do that?
I say pop the hood, so you have that.
Oh, the hood's open too. Good. Yeah, battery for free in downtown Minneapolis.
only for the purposes of pinching the hood back down on the umbrella, thus keeping it upright and stiff. So the umbrella can protect the windshield from the hail.
That's an awesome idea. Maybe I could do some cardboard over it.
You know, we're not going to talk about movies at all this week.
This is just a life update.
We're just going to bicker.
But you know what? We've had a little bit of a fun morning here. We met up with a buddy, and we went and saw the 2006 Oscar nominee for Best Makeup, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. 20th anniversary re-release.
When you said 2006, I'm like, that's the wrong year. But then you went into the Oscars, I'm like, all right, now you're right.
That's the only Oscar it got nominated for.
That's
crazy.
Wild. Also, you and I were talking before this, the music in the prequels is amazing, and it almost rivals, if not sometimes surpasses that of the original trilogy, which might be a hot take, I don't know. But just Duel of the Fates alone is enough argument for that. The music in this movie, how did that not get a score nominee?
It was wild.
And the visual effects are pretty great.
Yeah.
They still, for the most part, hold up.
If I remember right, Attack of the Clones at least got nominated for visual effects.
And the effects in that one are ass.
Yeah, so I don't know how that happens. But anyways, 20 years since Revenge of the Sith came out. What a important and nostalgic and just influential movie for both of us and so many other people growing up in the early 2000s. playing the Lego video games. I'm playing Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, you get the loading sequence of a lot of shots of this game. Or like the Revenge of the Sith PlayStation game. I played that a lot. Oh my god.
It's just so this movie, I think more than the other two prequels, is just like the one where I like think of prequels. So this was awesome to see in theaters. I think we mentioned a little bit last week, but we were both 5 when this movie came out. Mason fell asleep for a part of it, and I remember like certain sequences, so it was great to like go back and actually just watch this one in theaters. You guys know what Revenge of the Sith is about. I don't need to tell you what it is.
Anakin becoming Darth Vader and the world trying to adjust to that or prepare for that, basically.
Clone Wars coming to the end. You got Count Dooku getting his head lopped off. Grievous getting piped. Pause. But anyways, I mean, there's so much to say about it that people have talked about forever about this movie. So I kind of wanted to just highlight some things that smaller things that I really love about this movie, and some that I don't like. One is something that we mentioned. The sound design in this movie is awesome. Like every blaster or like General Grievous, anytime he moves,
his breath.
It's awesome. Like every sound, the explosions. It's so great, and I love it. John Williams just went bananas on the score. Battle of the Heroes is insane. It's just everything melds together so well, and it helps transition through scenes so great. Man, it's just like there are issues that I have with it, and I'll let you talk about some stuff. But like, it's things where I'm like, this doesn't bother me as much anymore. And I think that's happened a lot with the prequels. Like, people have come around, and I think sometimes there's a little bit too much glaze into the prequels, where they're like, no, they're actually, like, incredible films. I'm like,
no, they're not.
Okay, I love these 3 movies, but we realize there's issues.
Yeah, my oldest brother, he is very nostalgic and loves Phantom Menace, and for him, that's what Revenge of the Sith is to me. Because, like, I grew up, and Revenge of the Sith was, like, the Star Wars movie I was able to see in theaters. Granted, I did fall asleep and see maybe, like, in total, like 40 minutes of the movie actually in theaters until today. But Revenge of the Sith, I think it's like clearly far and away the best of the prequels.
Absolutely.
I hate Attack of the Clones. Like, as a Star Wars fan, I like the prequels overall. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is by far and away the best. Attack of the Clones is dog shit. I hate that movie so much. But also, like, with that, I still watch that movie from time to time, even though I don't like it. I have this weird, like, it's home to me, these movies. Like,
if that gets a re-release in a couple of years,
I'll probably be there. See it. Yeah. Like, and I hate all the shit that happens in that movie. You get honestly the worst dialogue in the prequels is mostly in Attack of the Clones. Revenge of the Sith, though, there's like surprising amounts of nuance. Like, a lot of people kind of harp on this or on all 3 of these movies for just like the pretty bad or unsubtle writing, and some of the acting's not the best, but there are moments within this movie. Maybe it's my body and my mind trying to course correct or try and argue that there is something there that actually isn't there. But there's one of my favorite moments in the entirety of the prequel trilogy is when you see that helmet coming down on Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, and it's lowering, and his eyes are wide, and he looks like he's afraid, but then, like, as it's really coming down, his eyes, like, close a little bit. I'm like, you're accepting it.
It's a great moment.
It's, like, there's some really, like, nuanced moments, like, sprinkled throughout the trilogy. Like you said, the music is great. The opening to this movie, like 35, 40 minutes, however much that battle of rescuing Palpatine, running in with Grievous, getting back on land, like, I love that.
That also feels like just the advancement in CGI from 2002, when Attack of the Clones came out, to 2005, and that just feeling like, all right, we're going to show you how far it's come. And, like, not everything in this movie looks great, but that opening is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they got, like, a plane up there to film it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just all the one take,
yeah. It was actually
Joseph Kosinski.
Yeah, Joseph Kosinski's doing that. Yeah. Like Tom Cruise in his new space movie, what he's doing.
No, I agree. There's a lot of really good stuff in this movie, and I think the biggest thing that, like, the biggest issue I have is that Anakin's turn feels very rushed.
Yeah.
And that's, everybody, has kind of mentioned that. And I think that's more so an issue with the layout of the prequels themselves and how they chose to handle the first 2 movies, because I think we needed more build up to this and his eventual turn in at least the second movie. Like, we get a little bit, I guess.
You get him killing the Raiders and trying to save his mom.
It's like, it's almost dying. We're getting there. And I think this movie, for being, 2 hours and 20 minutes, like, getting all of the story in there, like, I think it does it still well enough where I'm like, yeah, it bothers me, and it is rushed, but it still works well enough. I think the Order 66 scene is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that still, even though it does come along pretty quickly, one of my favorite shots in this movie is when Order 66 is happening, all the clones are shooting the Jedi, and I forget what planet they're on, but Ki-Adi-Mundi is there, and then it just pans down to the stormtroopers, and they're running, and then they stop. And you just hear, like, their boots stop, again, to the sound design, and then they just, you see the blaster fire and everything. So there's a lot of really great things like that. And then, obviously, the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight at the end. I think the first half of that is really fun. The score, again, is fucking awesome. I think the back half, when they're swinging on ropes and there's lava shooting everywhere and they're jumping off shit, it's like, it takes away from the emotion. I wish it was more just like a little more dialogue in the fight as well. But, like Obi-Wan at the end, after he chops him in half and he's like, you're my brother. Like, I loved you. You're supposed to, like, save us and bring balance. Like, that still hits. Like, that had some good weight to it.
Not my biggest issue, but one of the issues I think you and I have the most with this movie is the use of Yoda and also the Yoda-Palpatine fight.
Yep.
Yoda just bouncing around. I don't think I ever needed to see Yoda with a lightsaber. Like, going off of, like, our exposure to him in the original trilogy of this old, wise Jedi, I don't think I really ever needed to see him go up against someone with a lightsaber. I feel like he's a guy he's a Jedi that's more Force sensitive, and that should be his power. That should be where like his command like falls. Like, I don't need to see him going tit for tat with Palpatine or even Dooku in Attack of the Clones, which that's not much of a lightsaber battle, but like I don't need him in like combat. I don't think he is more of like what I would envision as the lead of a Jedi Council, as just more of like the scholarly
sage
lead,
advice.
The sage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need him as this flipping like wild rabid cat with a lightsaber. Like, I didn't need that shit. And that like that bits of that kind of take me out of this movie. This movie is so enjoyable though. It does feel long at times. There's once they get back down from saving Palpatine, you and I talked about, there's about like a 30-minute chunk where it's kind of slow, but once we kind of get going and there's a lot of talk between Palpatine and Anakin, and that's starting to like slowly seep in of like, Palpatine, everything you say is like kind of sketchy. Like, actually, you're the Sith Lord? Really? No one saw that coming. So the turn, I wish it's really just a fumble of the entirety of the trilogy. Not really. I don't really like cap it mostly as this film's fault. I think that we needed to see more of that, like, switch or more of that dark side of Anakin, even as a Jedi, just more in the second film of this trilogy. But seeing this in theaters, seeing it fully through in theaters was awesome. The CGI, for the most part, holds up. There are great scenes that still, like, are some of my favorite scenes in Star Wars. And the cutting back and forth between Padme's, like, the birth of Luke and Leia, Padme's death, with the birth of Darth Vader that's perfect.
They're both like laying on the table.
Yeah, that's so well done.
Incredible.
So there are aspects of this movie that I'm like, wow, you guys are like there. You did it.
Yeah.
And then there's just like, there's Jar Jar, which like you don't see much of him in this movie. And I actually like, again, it's more of like the nostalgic coated glasses where I'm like, I kind of love him. Like, damn it, it's my guy. But there are just like kind of weird things or like beats. There's quotes that me and you have kind of quoted a lot to each other.
Like every other line.
Yeah. To now, like when we watch the movie, it's almost like, that's the line. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Like. Fucking Yodas speak all the time.
Incredible. Not if anything to say about it. I have.
It's like, can we just drop
Shut
it
up.
and just say, like, you know what? I'm going to just plain English. Like, I'll take care of it. Like, you don't get to do this.
Yeah. So even though there is, you kind of mentioned, like, the dialogue and so, like, a lot of the performances are still wooden. Like, Natalie Portman's kind of wooden in this movie.
Yeah.
Same with Hayden
They
Christensen.
also
Like,
don't give her a whole lot. She's just pregnant this movie.
Yeah.
That's all that she does, really. She has no working in... It's just the one scene, and you get that one line where, like, this is how, democracy falls.
this is how liberty dies.
Liberty dies
Thunderous
with
applause.
thunderous applause. It's like, okay, you get that moment, but like you don't get a lot of like what now the Clone Wars has gone back and kind of fixed and given us more with all of these characters. So it's just more, again, it's just the mishandling of this trilogy overall.
Yeah.
While I still like the components of the majority of the trilogy, but especially this movie. This is far and away my favorite of the prequels.
Absolutely. So all those kind of little things I've kind of gotten over, but I think the one thing that I just don't like is the cutting to Palpatine and Yoda's fight when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting. I think that kills all the momentum of that end fight. This is the moment in this trilogy when we're supposed to be getting there. This is the fall, two brothers fighting. So that's like my one thing with this movie that I'm like, I still don't like that, like 100%.
And it's very typical of like storytelling. We'll talk about it more with like the beginning of Andor season 2 here in a little bit, but you see it in there, you see it in Return of the Jedi. We're cutting back between like aerial battles. Like there's always like 3 stories happening concurrently, 3 like different fronts of a battle. And it's when it gets to the end and it's like, I'm really here for Obi-Wan and Anakin. This is the most important thing happening in all of Star Wars. We should just uninterrupted see this. And granted, you talked about like that latter half of that battle starts to get kind of like, all right, we're really over choreographing this. It's kind of getting a little bombastic. We're fucking hanging from this thing that's in lava, or we're swinging like Tarzan and swinging at each other. I'm like I could do away with some of it. But also the nostalgia in me, I'm like, it's still like, these are my guys. Like, I get to see this. And like, the CGI from Mustafar is phenomenal. It looks awesome. And I think also the death, or the burning of Anakin Skywalker, which is kind of the death of Anakin Skywalker, if you want to say it, looks great still. And when his eyes are like beet red and he's like, it's still not the best delivery, but
Ewan McGregor helps.
Ewan McGregor helps that scene tons. Honestly, if you take the one little bit of Eye of the High Ground out of that sequence is perfect to me. But yeah, it was nice to being able to see this in theaters. I saw Phantom Menace, I'm sure, and you saw Phantom Menace back when they did the re-release of the 20th anniversary of that. Or was it the 20th or 25th even?
I think it was the 25th.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
And like, I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie. I will acknowledge that movie is not good, whereas this movie, I'm like, there's a lot of great stuff in here. It's so nice to being able to see Star Wars on the big screen, especially when we're kind of in a movie drought with Star Wars. So
yeah, there are just a couple other little things I just wanted to rifle through that stuck out to me in this movie, or that I just loved seeing. First of all, seeing a 20th Century Fox fanfare playing over just the Lucasfilm, and like, man, that just felt. It just brings me back to like, we had 6 Star Wars movies and that's it.
Yeah.
For so long. So that was great to see. There was also a little introduction by Hayden Christensen, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
In the theater, he's just like, hey, thanks for coming, blah blah blah.
I've really loved how like Star Wars is like fandom, which is kind of fraught with a lot of like shitty people and like shitty takes, or people being mean to people cast in shows for no reason. I love how like all I feel like of the Star Wars fan base has kind of accepted Hayden Christensen and brought him back in, and now that he's coming back in like Ahsoka and stuff like that, it's just nice to see him and to see him kind of get his flowers for being such a pivotal role in this story, even though like you can't blame his performance 100% on him. Even Harrison Ford was like, you can write this shit but you can't say it, George. Like, you can't read this dialogue, it's horrible. So you can't put all the blame on the actors. George Lucas is a great storyteller, and he has a good mind, and he can see an overarching story. The nuances he misses, which is clearly within the I don't like sand, and just like those lines. But seeing this was something special, and to have Hayden Christensen kind of do a little intro was a nice surprise too.
Yeah. I also just wanted to shout out Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine. I feel like I never hear people talk about his performance, but especially in this movie, his manipulation of Anakin and like the Darth Plagueis scene and all of that, I think is really good. And he brings kind of a gravitas to it that I think really helps to, like, with the turn being too quick, like his performance helps with that a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh wow, you are like saving a lot of this dialogue that's kind of weird, shitty dialogue in Star Wars, but it's like, oh, you're menacing. You can just see him laying the seeds, even just throughout this movie. He's great.
Yeah, there are still good moments. Like, even though overall I'm like, this isn't like the best written anything, but I think there are scenes where he toes the line and he knows how to deliver things to where it's like, there's a double meaning there. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, are you a Sith Lord? Like, are you good? Are you bad? Can I trust you or not? Like, even though the writing sometimes kind of falters, I feel like he makes up for it a lot. That weird opera scene, which I never understand what the fuck they're watching at that moment, with like the big bubbles in space, but he's like, have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis, like stuff like that? I'm like, oh, just such quintessential moments, and I think they handle like some some decently written moments with amazing acting, and it's like, you know what, this is good. I'm on board.
And I think it works too. There's a line in there where they're talking about like the Jedi and the Sith, and Anakin's like, no, the Sith only worry about themselves, and Palpatine's like, and the Jedi don't.
Yeah.
And like, you see that in this movie, the Jedi are fucking dicks to Anakin. So it's like,
my god.
Mace Windu especially, I'm like, damn, you kind of had that coming a little bit. You could have been nicer, but either way, this was awesome to see in theaters. I'm so happy that they've been doing these re-releases, and seems like a lot of people are going to it. Like, I think making pretty decent money
we
too.
had a
So
pretty decent theater.
Yeah. So great to see. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters for, but go check it out. It's the most recent George Lucas film. So
that's weird. That's fucking crazy.
Is he ever going to make another movie?
No way in hell.
Who knows?
Will he ever direct a movie again?
Yeah.
But like, you're gonna go out on Revenge of the Sith. Like, that's not a bad movie to end on.
Yeah, very cool. I was happy to see it with you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Moving into more Star Wars, actually, and then we'll get off of the Star Wars talk for a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit again towards the end of the show. But Andor Season 2, which was honestly, surprisingly, the biggest release of this past week, I feel like, at least for me. Andor Season 2, episodes 1 through 3. I love this release schedule that they're doing of the 3 episodes per week, kind of documenting a year leading up to where we see Cassian Andor go in Rogue One. I really enjoyed like that. I love the first season of Andor. I was really excited for this season. I heard nothing but like, this is the best Star Wars has ever been. Like, this is the best writing, this is the best storytelling, this is what Star Wars is made to be. So sitting down to watch these first 3 episodes that were released, I got about 10 minutes into the first episode and I was like, I'm losing steam. I'm already like I can feel myself slipping and not paying closely attention, so I stopped, took a break, and I think the next day I revisited it, finished the first episode, watched episode 2, and I was like, okay. I don't hate it, but I'm kind of torn on it. Whereas most of the reviews for everything, which granted a lot of those reviews are for the full season, not just these 3 episodes, have been very positive. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll watch it. And then I heard about things that happened towards the end of episode 3, and I'm like, all right, I need to watch episode 3 so I can be caught up. And I watched episode 3, so I've seen all 3 of these episodes, and I know you have too.
Spoiler alert for this.
Spoiler alert. I think spoiler alert for all of the TV we're going to talk about.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Andor Season 2 here for the first 3 episodes, and then we're going to talk about Last of Us Season 2, episode
Mega
2.
spoiler alert.
So mega spoiler alert.
Yep.
If you haven't heard, granted that episode came out like 5 days ago, so if you haven't heard about what happens in that episode and you haven't seen the show yet, how the fuck did you do that?
That's
yeah,
great.
damn. Don't listen to us, which you're probably not, so it's fine. But anyway, Andor Season 2, I was kind of torn. I heard such positive things. I'm not terribly sold on it. Corey, what are your kind of like first reactions, first kind of impulse feelings from this?
I just got done rewatching season 1, and I just don't think there's a misstep in any episode there. Even in the episodes that don't have a lot of plot, where it really is just kind of like a couple moving pieces, it still works incredibly well. These first 3, I think the opening scene is great. I love the opening shot of the series, of like the lights coming on in this Imperial base. Like, it was awesome, cool visual image. And then that scene of him getting the TIE Avenger out of there was like entertaining and fun, good little canyon chase. It was like, all right, sweet, I'm in for this. And really these first 3 episodes, it's kind of more of like talking about the storylines instead of like individual episodes, I feel like. So
yeah, there's 3 subplots, 3.5 subplots kind of going on during all 3 of these episodes.
You have Cassian, he gets out of that base, and then he's trying to meet up with somebody on a planet we find out is Yavin 4, the home base of the rebels, and it's just this other group of kind of like insurgents or other sort of rebels, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't like this storyline. I didn't care about it. I thought the performances were bad by these other rebels that were there. Cassian's like pretty much tied up, just kind of like a prisoner there for a while.
As you're just subjected to the infighting of this group that's like, I'm in charge. Who put you in charge? Oh, what's going on here? What's our plan?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't really care about this, and our main character is just like kind of out of service for these first 3 episodes, essentially. Then you have Mon Mothma and her daughter getting married to this kind of like crime lord, his son, and they're on Chandrilla, and they're doing the whole wedding ceremony for like 3 days. Luthen shows up, and the best stuff from these 3 episodes I think was in this storyline, which it was Mon Mothma and Luthen and their like dual roles that they have to play of putting on the show, putting on the performance, which is like from season 1 I think the best stuff. And I think that works well here too, of dealing with these people that they're trying to get funding from and being like, well, we might have to, this dude's kind of blabbing a lot. He's getting drunk and like just saying shit.
Yeah.
And we're like, might have to kill him. And it's like Mon Mothma's friend. And she's like, I don't think we can do that. And Luthen's like, well, sorry. That's the way it has to be.
Lucky it ain't you.
And then he turns around and he's doing the art dealer, you know, his persona, which I always think has been just an incredible, like, little moment in this show of just these two characters having to put on the show for the Senate or for the art or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the rebellion stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. I really love Luthen, and anytime he pops up on screen, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like waiting for him to have a big monologue all the time, just based on how towards the end of last season, I'm like, you are everything he said. I was like, this is the best Star Wars ever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're the art dealer right now. I forget like that we're snapping into that mode, and you can only really be a rebel around the other rebels, obviously. And I think to the most part, I'd agree with you with this storyline kind of having the most like compelling stuff moving, at least from what I expect is going to happen in the next kind of latter episodes and moving forward into the season, of just how they get funding for this rebellion. And like, it also kind of ties into like a little bit of The Last Jedi. They don't outright connect, obviously, but like that a whole premise in that movie of like, well, yeah, people profit off of war. People pay people for war. Like, the same people that are selling to the rebels are selling to the Empire or whatever. So I'm like, I'm interested in like the more financial aspect of that, and how this beginning of this season has kind of tackled what a rebellion looks like. We've gotten kind of 3 different fronts of it. We get the more glamorous behind the scenes, like, yeah, we need to get funding for this, but we're also at this wedding. We need to be outward facing towards the public and towards people that we would see in our day-to-day lives, and we can't really show that we're part of a rebellion, but we need to get this funding. And then there's also Cassian, who's kind of stuck in the middle of this tiff with 2 conflicting sides of the same group of like, yeah, I'm in charge. Why are you in charge? It's like, okay, I don't like. I can.
They're playing rock paper scissors.
That storyline is the worst for me of this 3-episode arc. I just don't care about it. I'd rather watch Cyril and Dedra meet Cyril's mother and have dinner with her than see these 2 groups infighting and fucking mad at each other. Because again, what you said, I don't agree with I don't think that the performances were good there. Aside from Cassian Andor, and I do like the motif, or like the moment when we get Andor escaping out of that in episode 3, and he knows how to fly the ship, and he's just like, fuck you guys, like, I'm out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah. But it's like, it's hard to judge these 3 episodes without knowing where this whole season goes, but right now I'm like, God, this was not what I was expecting right off of the bat, especially coming off of the first season of Andor, which I think was so exceptionally well done, well written, and really just got me so hyped. Even though I know where all of this leads, I'm so excited to see what comes before that.
Yeah.
But then we get like, I do really like the subplot based with, I don't remember characters, so I'm going to look to you to help me remember characters. Brasso and Bix.
Yep.
Brasso and Bix's storyline of them being on planet, waiting for Cassian to show up, and this Imperial audit is happening where they're going through and basically just looking for, do you have a visa? Can you be here? Are you illegal? Like all
Nazis.
that shit. Like Nazis.
Yeah.
And they're just basically ostracizing people or trying to find people that are illegal and whatnot. And I like the tension that comes with that, and you get a couple of really impactful scenes between Bix and an Imperial officer who's like, where's your husband? And he's like kind of flirting, but also like, you're scummy.
You slimy fuck.
You're a slimy fuck. You work for the Empire, so like whatever you're saying, like you're trying to, there's a double meaning to the things he's saying, like, where's your husband? And he's also like, I'm coming on to you, but also, are you sure you're supposed to be here and you can be here?
Yeah.
And the stuff that's happening there. So of the subplots, the wedding, Bix and Brasso, those 2 I much preferred than our lead characters subplot, which was weird and I didn't anticipate.
And those 2 storylines are the ones that are. They do a very interesting thing in episode 3 where we have the first like rape scene in Star Wars, which a lot of people have been talking about, and it's intercut with Mon Mothma at the wedding, dealing with her daughter getting married off to just like a crime lord's son, and her best friend potentially getting killed, and she's getting drunk at the wedding and just like letting loose, whatever, doing white mom stuff. And I understand the point of cutting those 2 things so closely together, but it still is jarring. Where it's like Adria Arjona plays Bix. She's like, he was just trying to rape me. and then we cut immediately to Mon Mothma dancing in the club. I get the impact. Like, that's intentional. I understand that, but I don't know if it 100% worked for me. I like the idea of like risking lives for the rebellion in different ways, where like some people it's their family, other people it's these slimy Imperials, and you have to do this. So it's an interesting discussion, and I think kind of what you were talking about before of like seeing this rebellion being built up. Part of Luthen's speech in the first season when he's like, I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy. Like, I have to do dirty things. I have to kill people. Like, sometimes we have to sacrifice a whole rebel fleet to, like, not let the Empire know that we're onto them. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to make sacrifices here. He's like, I've sacrificed people I love. It's like, won't see the sunrise or whatever his line is. So, like, all of that stuff is really what works strong for me. And maybe over time I'll come around to that kind of editing choice in that third episode. But a fine start to season 2. But I think just because season 1 didn't have a miss for me, it stands out a little bit more. But I cannot wait to see the rest of the season still. Like, there's a lot of great things here. And I think getting past this point, I think will be big, kind of moving into what we're going to next. I think is going to be very fun to watch.
Yeah. And to see again, spoilers, the death of Brasso, and one of the dude works for the people he loves, and like knowing Cassian, and we've seen him throughout all of season 1 being just like a right-hand man, a guy that's always going out of his way for other people within his group. So I sadly I found out about that. I heard about his death before I watched episode 3, so I kind of was expecting it. Again, it's going to be kind of hard to really like critique a lot of this until we see how this really interacts with the rest of the story moving forward. I still love casting Andor, which is weird because I remember when they first announced this show that they were going to do a 2-season show following a character that died in the movie that we met him in. I was like, I didn't even think he was that interesting. And then we got him, and we've gotten this first season. I'm like, holy shit, he's like a top 10 Star Wars character. Like, I'm on board with Andor. So
his only characterization in Rogue One was, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
6 years old.
Which doesn't really make sense now.
I'm not going to question
it.
Whatever.
Also, we get Krennic back. I don't think we mentioned that. Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn's back, which, love it. He's incredible. I love that character, so I'm glad we're getting to see him in this season.
Yeah, I love Krennic, and I love that little like infomercial kind of presentation scene between him and the rest of the Imperial officers where like, hey, I'm sure you guys have bosses, but if they're not here, they're not in the know. They don't get to know about this. So I love like the Imperial inner workings and being able to see Krennic again. I love Ben Mendelsohn. So I'm thrilled with that. Again, with the ending of episode 3 and kind of the cutting back and forth, I'm kind of in line with you where I didn't 100% work for me. I get what they were going for, I think. It felt similar to, or like an attempt to replicate what they do at the end of The Godfather, which The Godfather is my favorite movie of all time. I don't know if I've ever said that on this podcast, but it's my favorite movie of all time. It's been my favorite movie since I was 12. And towards the end of that movie, while Michael Corleone, the spearhead of that movie, is at a baptism, people are getting offed and dying, and it's cutting between this very innocent moment, and it's showing really like horrible displays of violence and kind of course correcting the natures of what happened throughout the movie and kind of getting us all to the same central point of Michael is the head of this family and in charge. They kind of do a similar thing with this, which we talked about. It's something Star Wars has done in the past of cutting between different storylines and tying towards a mutual like climax in the story. But with this, I'm like, it feels too jarring. If you're gonna give us the first time we've ever really seen sexual assault in the Star Wars galaxy, which is a very grounded thing in a very fantastical world, I feel like it's almost a disservice to pair that with what Mon Mothma is going through with this dance and at this fucking wedding, and she's really getting into it, and you hear that music, I'm like, it feels a little jarring. Where I don't feel like that merger of like seeing something good happen with like something sweet and innocent happen paired with a lot of bad shit, I don't think it 100% works. But I do think I get what they were going for. And I wouldn't be surprised, like I know people, episode 3 worked for them, and at least the ending of it and how they kind of edited between and cut between those. And I don't think you're wrong. It's just for me, I'm like, it feels like we're really hitting like not a low in terms of quality, but low in terms of just dark shit that's happened in this world. And to cut away from it feels like it's doing this a disservice to the story overall. I'd rather just sit with it, have it hit me, and deal with it.
Yeah.
Than Mon Mothma, disco. Like it's like okay, I get like the sadness that's in that scene too, but I'm like I'd rather just have the hard low point of the story happen when I need it to, when it needs to be experienced as truly the only thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's something I've been like sitting with and thinking about a lot. Just like, did it work for me? I've come around a little bit, but yeah. So we'll be doing reviews of these 3-episode batches. We got 9 more episodes. So very excited to keep going with this show.
We're gonna have a couple of very TV centric weeks moving forward with Andor and Last of Us kind of carrying through these next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of Last of Us, season 2, episode 2. Whew. Again, spoiler alert. I want to say it again.
If you didn't fucking find out, hear about it, going golfing, all that shit.
Had a little Joel in one.
I haven't heard that one before. That's good.
So going into this, I said last week I haven't played the second Last of Us game, but I did know that Joel died, and I knew it had something to do with golf. I didn't know exactly what it was. I could kind of like put 2 and 2 together, like something golf club, maybe whatever.
Shit out of them.
Yeah, I was like, something's gonna happen there. Happened in the second episode of this season, which I didn't expect to happen this early. This was a great episode of TV. This was, even aside from just that, the storyline of the infected going up to in Jackson and their whole city there, it felt it felt very Game of Thrones-esque when they're like at the wall and all the White Walkers are coming up, like that sort of vibe. That was so entertaining. And just like, even like when I was watching, the panic of just like looking out of the binoculars and just seeing a fucking horde, and everyone's just like, oh, okay, get on top of the buildings? I don't know, just like get flamethrowers out, and like seeing Tommy just like with the bloater as it's like coming down the alley, he's got the flamethrower, like all of that stuff was great.
I thought they were gonna kill Tommy in that moment.
I was scared. I was like, whoa, he's big fella's getting close.
Bloater's on him.
You are lucky. But man, you get Abby out there, and Joel saves her, not knowing that that'll be his downfall, which is a great moment too. And then you get just a heartbreaking final sequence there with Ellie coming in, and you just see Joel beat to shit, and Abby's kind of gassing him up a little bit before that. She's like, "Wow, you really are handsome." She's like, "That's a shame." I'm like, this is the second episode in a row where you're like, you're really handsome. Like, in a different world, if he didn't like cap your doctor dad in the head, like
you hitting on him.
You're trying to. Okay, I see what you're doing. But man, even just like Pedro Pascal's performance, like just not saying anything. I don't know how it plays out exactly in the game, but like
he's very
just sitting there listening, and then he's just like, "Can you fucking hurry up and just do it if you're gonna do it?" And
that's almost right from the game.
Okay.
That moment too, when he's like, "Can you get on with it?"
Okay.
Like he's like, "I know where we're going. I know what's gonna happen."
Yeah.
And I love that, especially within like I've played and or have seen most of Last of Us Part 2, the game. In terms of the show, I knew what happened to Joel. I knew how it happened. I just didn't know when if they were gonna adapt it and put it later towards the end of the season, because Last of Us Part 2 is gonna carry on into this season and the next season of television. But a big thing within The Last of Us Season 2, the main story doesn't really start until Joel dies. That's when you get, like, Ellie. And Ellie gets dark. She does wild shit. So I'm excited to see how they handle that. We also get more time with Abby, which I know a lot of people when playing the game didn't love, because you just killed one of the leads with a character you just introduced, and now I need to play as the character you just introduced. How do I care about this character? So I'm expecting within the next couple episodes, we'll probably get a flashback episode centered around Abby or more about the Fireflies. I also like, there's a moment when Abby's like kneeled down in front of Joel and she's like, we usually have a rule of like, we don't kill people that are defenseless, but I'm not giving you that rule, or something along those lines. And it's just like, fuck, they're really going to kill him right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I was aware of what was gonna happen. Like I knew how this happened. I didn't think they would do it this soon. But then when the wheels started spinning and the fucking certain points started getting hit and checked off, I was like, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And in the game, during Joel's death, Tommy's with him, which he's not in this. Tommy's defending this onslaught attack from the infected, and which is awesome. We were kind of talking about how like Star Wars kind of cutting back and forth between those two things. These are way like as two different distinct storylines. They fit each other better to cut back and forth. Even though it's a big thing with Joel's death, Tommy's also about to get killed by a fucking bloat. Like there's the stakes within both are equal to me. I love the scene when the infected like kind of break into the town. Part of me is like, you guys didn't want to like bottleneck that opening where they were coming in and just like shoot them as they're coming in. They really let them like get into the town. And the entire time watching, I was like, they're gonna get everywhere. You're gonna have to look for so long to make sure you got all the fucking infected to kill them all. But I like, there's 3 or 4 guys posted up with fucking flamethrowers, and the infected are just in a horde coming at them, and 2 of them ditch and they just run. And I'm like, yeah, I would too. That's fucking terrifying. So I like the way one of the best things about The Last of Us is how they really realistically represent how a human would react to a lot of the shit that's just going on. Like, yeah, you're going to want to think that you're going to be at the front line defending yourself against an infected or this big fucking tank of a bitch bloater that's taking nearly an entire flamethrower until he drops dead. Like, you'd want to think you'd be at the front lines, but also that shit's terrifying. Like, the probability that you're going to end up dead is so fucking high that to be heroic is ludicrous and stupid. But I think that it's not the best episode of The Last of Us. Not to say that this is a bad episode. This is one of the best. I just think episode 3 of season 1 was far and away my favorite episode of the show so far, and it's something that was fully unexpected to me as someone who played the first game. This, they found a way to keep the tension throughout everything. And I love the moment when when Dina and Joel stumble upon Abby, and Dina's like, "Oh, Joel!" And then you see that look on Abby's face of like, "Oh, this is the fucking guy I'm after." Yeah,
even just the sound design of when the golf club or the like cut off golf goes through his neck, it like cuts out. Oh. And Bella Ramsey's performance there, like, I know some people have like given her shit, being like, "Yeah, she doesn't look like Ellie from the game."
Who gives
a
fuck? Joel doesn't. Pedro Pascal doesn't look like Joel from the game either.
It's like her performance in that scene, her just like crying on the ground. Joel, as he's just beating up, like his last thing he tries to do is like get up to try and
you can
get
see
Ellie.
A little bit of the hope happen, and they're like, "You fuckers."
It's heartbreaking. It's like it's a death in TV and movies. A lot of them, you know, you're kind of like, that's sad. But this is one where it's like, oh
fuck.
Even though like I'm fairly new to Last of Us, you know, just started watching it the first season, then played the game, I'm like, you feel this connection between these characters. So I'm very curious to see where it goes. You obviously know some story beats. I don't know anything beyond this point. I knew this thing, but I don't know what happened. So I'm excited to experience it fresh for the first time.
I was so sad when you brought it up a couple weeks ago that you found out, and like you and I completely forgot and spaced on it and didn't talk about it. But that you found out that he got killed. And you didn't know 100% like the nature as to it. But just watching it, as soon as Abby looks across and you see the golf clubs, like, fuck! Like, they're going to do it. Like, shit, they're going to. And I've seen some complaints of some people being like, I wish that they... Because while the beating is happening and while Abby's just going to town on Joel, basically, you don't see a lot of the damage being done to Joel. And I've seen some complaints of people being like, I wish we saw more of it because I would feel more of it. But I'm almost of the complete opposite camp. I think that is like the way it was represented to us. We're getting the rage from Abby. Like, as much as we have had more time with Joel, and this is what we're going to see as being Joel's death, this is Abby in her storyline getting retribution for something that Joel did to her. And I think that this is such a good examination of, hey, in this almost lawless world, there's not to tie it back to Revenge of the Sith, there's heroes on both sides in the opening crawl of Revenge of the Sith. There's a villain, like, if you're a hero in your story, you're a villain in someone else's, and it doesn't matter. Like, for Abby, this was a cathartic moment, and I'm eager to see how people kind of, like, viewership-wise, moving forward, how they're going to accept Abby as a character, and if they're going to be like, no, fuck her, like, she killed my favorite character, I'm not watching the show, or like, all right, let's see what happens with her. Like, why? Abby works on people in terms of you'll kind of grow to not necessarily accept what she does, but understand what she does. And that's why I think The Last of Us, in terms of gameplay, storytelling within a video game, is one of the best stories told. Like, it does a good job of making you understand people you don't want to understand. And people that piss you off, and you're like, fuck, I get it, though. Like, so, such a well-done episode. One of the best of the show so far. I'm excited because tonight we get a new episode, and I'm eager to see what route they go with it. I'm hoping it's probably a more Abby-centered episode just to get more of her storyline. But, yeah. Love this episode. It was phenomenal. TV kind of ruled this past week, at least for you and I. Aside from seeing Revenge of the Sith this morning, TV was like the savior for this week. I did go to the theater a couple times. I saw a couple of movies this past week. I saw Until Dawn, directed by David F. Sandberg, which it wasn't in my top 10 most anticipated of the year, but if I were to have an honorable mentions list, it would have been in there because I really love Lights Out. I think Annabelle Creation is it's surprisingly a good movie within a Conjuring spin-off universe that typically sucks. And I actually really enjoy it. I love Shazam 1. Shazam 2 is pretty good too. So I was really excited for Until Dawn. I am a big fan of the video game. Play that through. Fuck, did this movie piss me off. And I know you've seen this. You and I both saw this movie. We saw it individually from each other. The synopsis is a group of friends trapped in a time loop. You kind of get that in trailers. Where mysterious foes are chasing and killing them in gruesome ways, and they must survive until dawn to escape it. Otherwise, if they die before dawn, they're locked back in for another day. And as each day passes, some sort of kind of transformation is occurring, which somewhat ties into the video game a little bit. Which I'm not going to be here banging a drum saying, oh, you're different from the game, so therefore you suck. The game is a video game based on horror tropes, but you just get to choose your own adventure, butterfly effect through each character. So, hey, I made a decision to go down this hallway instead of this hallway. Oh, this informs how this character is going to die. Oh, I did this instead of that. This character is going to survive now. And what's going to happen with the video game is a very fun experience, even though it's really steeped in horror tropes and cliches. So, trying to adapt that into a movie, a video game that pays homage to a lot of horror tropes, the movie is filled with them. Horror tropes, cliches, which I get what you're going for, but also it just read as boring as fuck, repetitive, bland, and the characters do all that they possibly can to make you not root for them. Corey, before I rant too much, what did you think of Until Dawn?
Yeah, I, much like Last of Us Part 2, I have not played Until Dawn, but it sounded like a really cool concept, and I was excited to see it. And for me, I think I liked it a little bit more than you. I'd probably give it C plus range, somewhere in there, B minus, that sort of area. I think this movie worked best when it really was committed to that concept of the time loop. And what was the most interesting for me is that it wasn't the same every time. I think that would have got really repetitive and boring. Changes, It's like a different demon or a witch or a big slasher is going to kill him every time, and they don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes it could be them sitting in a bathroom and the water kills them. It's just different, things that can happen. So I think when it committed to that, especially, I feel like in the first half of the movie, that was kind of the gist of it. And I was like, okay, I like this. This is a cool idea. And like you said, the characters are bad. The writing's bad. I don't think the performances are all that good, really.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're the kids in a cabin in the woods, fighting off demons, walking through halls, saying, hey, we should split up. Hey, guys, come take a look at this. It's all of the things that you've seen 100 times.
That you know not to say. If you're in a horror movie, I shouldn't say this.
It's like the Scream thing. Don't say I'll be coming back or whatever. So all of that stuff was kind of whatever. The emotion in this movie, the main character has a relationship with her sister that she's trying to find, and none of that works. It's just bland.
No, the setup to get us into this premise is very cliche, and for me, the Groundhog Day element of this, which in the trailers I was like, okay, I think that's a pretty decent attempt at adapting a movie that's just a choose your own adventure, or a video game that's a choose your own adventure. So I was like, all right, I'm on board with that. The build-up to that, the premise of why they're going to this cabin is cliche, horror, trope-ridden bullshit. It's something you've seen 1,000 times. And then, not only that, once they get to the cabin, it's another, 20 minutes of them discovering that they're in a time loop, which then you have to go through, there's Groundhog Day, there's Happy Death Day, there's Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. That that storytelling trope within movies has now run dry for me. I'm tired of seeing characters being like, oh, we're here again! What happened? And then they go through that second day of like, wait, this is so similar to the first, what the fuck? And then the third day they're like, wait a minute, are we stuck here? I'm so done with that trope. And to get the characters to that point, because we all saw the trailer, most of the people in the audience have seen the trailer, we know that this happens, so it's getting those characters to that point. So I'm just waiting on these characters for the 30 minutes of catch-up work until they're on the same page as me. And I was so checked out by that point. I was telling Corey this, I typically don't leave a movie theater once I'm in the movie theater. I will go to the bathroom before if I need to. I will get popcorn. I will get all my stuff at the beginning. If I have to go to the bathroom before the movie, tough luck. I'm going to sit there and struggle. I'm just going to watch the movie. But for Until Dawn, I left the movie 3 times. Twice to go to the bathroom, once to get popcorn. So if that doesn't explain to you how little interest I had in what they decided to do with this movie, which a lot of it, there's some good callbacks to the game that I appreciated, but I didn't need this to be a one-for-one adaptation of the video game. And I don't think if they did that they could probably do it successfully, because I don't, like, the video game is just a horror movie. You just get to play as specific characters at specific times and make decisions for them. Within the movie, I'm like, this is just people trying to figure out what the fuck's happening. They're in a time loop, and it's all somehow about this trauma this character's facing because her sister's missing.
Yeah, it's
cool.
This for me was like a very fine enough movie that the concept was cool, and like some of the like mythology of like how we got to this point in the history behind it, I was like, it's kind of interesting, I guess. This for me is like in October, if I want a horror movie, like put it on the background, just kind of like have something Halloween-esque on. It's, like I said, pretty like a C+ range. Nothing like super special. You know, I think I liked it a little bit more than you, but it's not. I'm not singing its praises by any means.
Yeah, and I, like you said, like C+, B-. I was like C-
okay.
range. So like we're on the same side of the spectrum. I'm a little bit more extreme. The characters pissed me off, and the one character that they all chirped at the most in the movie, Abe, was saying a lot of the shit I feel like in that given moment I would be saying.
He had good points.
He had good points, and every time this character talks, like, shut the fuck up, Abe. Like, what are you talking about? Like, how dare you? Like, that's our friend. It's like Abe's like trying to survive. Like, he's the most like removed from this situation. He's new to this friend group. He just wants to survive. So a lot of the shit he's saying to me is the smartest stuff to go and do. But how quickly they'd be on him, I'm like, damn, dude's just trying to catch a break. He's just trying to live.
Trying to get y'all out of there.
Yeah, so it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just with adapting a video game that I really like. I didn't need it to be a straight one-to-one adaptation, but you have a good director attached with David F. Sandberg. I had higher hopes than what was delivered to me. This is probably my least favorite thing I've seen from David F. Sandberg. I'm still like eager to see more from him, though. And if someone came out of this movie and they're like, I had a fun time, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. So it's not a heaping pile of dog shit. It was just more of like the middle ground of like, oh, you're just doing stuff that I'm like, this is so easily avoidable.
Maybe we get a sequel down the road, and it's an Annabelle creation or Ouija 2 where it improves upon a cool concept.
And they do, towards the end, there is not necessarily a post credit, but a little bit of a tease towards
potential
what is truthful to the first game. So I'm like, oh, are you trying to make this a new franchise?
I'd be down if the right talent and everybody came in. I'd be okay
I would probably see a second movie of this, even as someone who didn't like this.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, another movie that I saw this week was The Accountant 2. But first, I had to watch The Accountant because I'd never seen it before. So that came out in 2016. You got Ben Affleck, and he is an accountant, also autistic, so Mason relates to him a lot.
Not gonna say anything.
Yeah, probably smart. But he is an accountant that kind of does all the books and the numbers for a lot of like gangs and crime lords and all kinds of stuff. And he gets in this plot of the Treasury Department is closing in on his activities, and Anna Kendrick is there. She works for this robotics department that John Lithgow is heading up.
I forgot he was in this first movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spoiler alert, he gets fucking domed in the skull.
Spoilers for everything in this episode.
Yeah, spoiler for everything. They're just sitting there at the end, Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, and he just kills him. So, yeah, it's both. You know, I'm just going to talk about both because I feel very similar about the first and second movies, both directed by Gavin O'Connor. And I think Ben Affleck is good, is Christian Wolf in these movies. And John Bernthal, I enjoy. I think he's fun and, like, in his element in an action movie.
Doing his John Bernthal.
Yeah, he's, you know, I can do it.
He's very grunty.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Yeah, whatever.
Fails to make eye contact.
Right. I think both of these movies, like, the concept is kind of fun of this, like, accountant dude, and he's kicking ass and whatever. And then they each have a pretty fun action scene at the end of the movie, especially the second one. It's in Mexico, and they're saving a bunch of kids, and it's just Bernthal and Affleck just fucking people up, and it's like, this is great. This is what I want from these movies, but there's like an hour and a half that happens before that, where it's just, I think both movies are very messy. I think their plots are overly complicated, and especially in the second movie, there's so much downtime of Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, who play brothers, and it's just them, like, bonding over all this stuff, but there's like 4 scenes of that, so it amounts to like 45 minutes of this movie where we're not related to the plot at all. It's just them at a bar doing line dancing, getting in bar fights, sitting on top of a camper drinking beers. I'm like, man, this is just like, the word I think I would use to describe both of these is meandering, where they're just kind of like floating around, like touching on a few things here. You have some characters. J.K. Simmons is kind of there. He has like an assistant that's helping him out with stuff, but they don't really matter in the first movie, and they have no impact on the final sequence, so it's like, why are they even fucking here? So I don't know. I'd heard a lot of good things about The Accountant, and I'm happy I've seen both of them now, but they're just, I don't know, not that special to me. I think they're like fine watches, I guess, but I think I prefer the first one a little bit. I think it's just a little bit more concise and focused than the second one. But, you know, I know a lot of people love both of these movies, so yeah, I don't know. You've seen the first one though, right?
I've seen the first one. The second one, Accountant 2, this past week was the movie on like the new release list that I was like the most excited to go and see. I didn't see it though. I saw Until Dawn and another movie that we'll talk about following this, but I really wanted to see The Accountant 2 just based on what I've heard about the chemistry between John Bernthal and Ben Affleck.
They're great.
I'm like, all right, sure. And every trailer I feel like I've seen since the movie's now been in theaters is only focused on them and not the actual plot of the movie. It's just them hanging out.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I getting into? Which it has relatively like decent reviews, which the first Accountant movie had like middling to okay reviews. And I think I saw The Accountant for the first time, because I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw it, I think, during COVID, like during 2020, when I was like, I just need to catch up on movies. Like, I need a movie to watch tonight, and I watched that, and I was like, it's fine. Like the story, the plot, like you said, is over convoluted. I like Ben Affleck in just about anything he's in. Like, even if it's fucking Paycheck, which is a dog shit movie, I'll watch Ben Affleck in it. I don't care. I really like Ben Affleck. But like, and I like Gavin O'Connor, and I think he can make really well done, like really well made movies. Miracle Warrior, especially, and The Way Back is another really underrated good Ben Affleck movie with him. So, The Accountant was fine. Like you said, when you brought up John Lithgow, I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't even remember he was in this movie. The movie's kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
And they've never. The first one isn't like an action movie. I feel like it was marketed like an action movie. I think talking about the second one with you, even leading into recording this, you mentioned that it's not really an action movie. There's one
big action scene and like a couple just moments throughout, and it's more of like a just boring thrill. I was very bored by the second one. Okay. I'm gonna be honest.
Do you in comparison to the first one, if you had to watch one of them again, which would you watch?
The first one.
The first one, okay. Because I think I like the first one maybe as much, if not maybe a little bit more than you. So I'm eager to see kind of how the second one hits me, because I plan to still see it in theaters just because we're kind of in a little bit of a dry spell as we lead into Thunderbolts coming out this upcoming week. So maybe I'll go see The Accountant 2 on Monday or Tuesday of this week. I don't know. But yeah, I've heard good things just about the chemistry, so that's the thing I'm really going in for. But I also am like, I don't know what the plot is at all, even from the trailers.
I watched the movie.
Yes. I know someone dies and they say, find the accountant on their arm. And then that springs off a story that likely doesn't get resolved based on a lot of the stuff I've heard about the movie, too.
Some things happen.
Yep, things happen. Okay, so, yeah, I'm not excited, but I will see The Accountant, too. And hopefully it's a good enough time and worth seeing in theaters. Moving off of those two fun movies, one of which, The Accountant 2, I'd rather had seen, I think, going into this past week. But I did see The Legend of Ochi, which was directed by Isaiah Saxon, which I believe, from what I was able to find, this is his feature directorial debut. starring Helena Zengel, Willem Dafoe, and Emily Watson. This is a movie that feels stripped right out of the 80s and kind of like that Finding Neverland, or it's almost like that E.T. essence to it, where young kid kind of on the outskirts of popularity, outskirts of like their own family, stumbles upon this weird creature, alien, animal thing, and has like a little bit of a coming of age story trying to bring this creature back to their home. The synopsis is: in a remote village on the island of Carpathia, a shy girl is raised to fear an elusive animal species known as Ochi. But when she discovers a baby Ochi that has been left behind, she escapes on a quest to bring him home. This is a film from A24. It has Willem Dafoe given a Willem Dafoe performance. The creature effects, the animation of this animal, because I know a lot of it was puppeted, really well done. Aside from that, I have very little to say about this movie. It didn't leave a lasting, really, impact on me. I brought up when I saw Until Dawn, I was so bored I left the theater 3 times. With this, I didn't dislike what was happening. I was just bored by it. It's an hour and a half long. It feels like it's closer to 2. It's a very slow-moving movie about this girl kind of discovering more about her role in her family's life. Her mom is absent. She doesn't know where her mom is, so she's like partially kind of has friction with her dad, played by Willem Dafoe, of like, where's my mom? I want to see my mom. I want to know where I come from. I want to have a bigger role in our lives. And then this Ochi appears, who she's been trained to hunt, which everyone that goes to hunt these Ochis are primarily kids led by Willem Dafoe, which was kind of funny, seeing Willem Dafoe command a bunch of like 12-year-olds like, shoot the fucking monkey! Get him! And it's just Willem Dafoe in an unhinged A24 performance, which I welcome. Overall, this movie didn't, like I said, leave a lasting impact. I don't know if I'd recommend it to many people. Overall, I would say I had a good... I'm not mad I went to see it in theaters. I had a good enough time. I just think that the payoff isn't anything special. There's nothing within this movie that was really special to it, aside from the style of it and the island that it takes place on, and the style of the Ochis, and the puppeteering. There's nothing, aside from those 3 things, that was really special, that really was like, wow, I needed to see this. This is something so new to me. This is so, well done. It just feels kind of like I said, kind of almost like a forgotten 90s or 80s movie about a kid who's had a tough time that discovers a new friend that they want to take care of and make sure that they can get home safely. So, if you've seen the trailers and it's worked for you, I would say go see it. The performances overall are really well done. Again, Willem Dafoe yelling is my favorite thing in the world, I think.
He's great.
And it's not my favorite A24 movie. It's probably I've seen I'd say 80% of A24's production, the films that they've put out.
Spring Breakers is your favorite, right?
Spring Breakers is actually one of my least favorite pieces of dog shit ever made.
That was one of the first A24 movies.
It was one of the first. Yeah. It was towards the beginning. Legend of Ochi, it's not my favorite A24 film. It's towards the bottom, but not necessarily because it's bad. It just didn't hit with me. It wasn't anything that really caught me off guard or surprised me, but I do think it's a good enough movie. I think it's well made. It just wasn't 100% my cup of tea. When we talked about last week's releases going into this past week, we had The Legend of Ochi, we had The Accountant 2, we had Until Dawn, we had some pretty decent theatrical releases that I was excited for, but honestly, the movie I was most excited for was one coming straight to streaming on Netflix, which I would probably never ever say again in my life, especially after my reaction to this movie, but Havoc, directed by Gareth Evans, who is the director of The Raid and The Raid 2, which 2 awesome action movies. If you can get over reading subtitles, which you should because you're an adult and you can fucking read a movie, it's fine. Watch The Raid and The Raid 2 if you have it, because they're amazing and they're exhausting to watch because people are putting in work all day beating the shit out of each other. So it's a good time. Havoc is it's been in production, I feel like, forever. I feel like it was announced back in maybe 2022 or 2023. But it's straight streaming on Netflix with Tom Hardy at the lead. And Forrest Whitaker, Timothy Oliphant. It has a pretty good cast. After a drug deal gone wrong, a bruised detective played by Tom Hardy must fight his way through the criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son, unraveling a deep web of corruption and conspiracy that ensnares his entire city. It's pretty formulaic. It's pretty generic. It's a lot of corrupt cop versus gang leader. It's just, nothing in this movie was really new to me. Kind of similar to The Legend of Ochi. I feel like I've seen this type of movie before. And this movie wasn't adding anything really necessarily new to it that really blew me away. I do love Tom Hardy, so I was thrilled to see him in an action role, but every role in this movie could have been played by literally fucking anyone. There's no strict personality to them. There's it's just he's kind of a deadbeat dad, and he's also a detective, and this happens around Christmas. So is this a Die Hard comparison or not? I don't know. I don't care enough. It's such a limp-wristed attempt at putting a Christmas movie spin on it for a movie that came out in fucking April. I'm like, why is this set around Christmas? It means nothing to the movie. Forrest Whitaker's in it for 10 minutes. Timothy Olyphant maybe 10 to 15. They're both giving serviceable performances. The action, to a degree, is good. It's, again, exhausting. The CGI and the CGI blood splatter and the CGI... the gunfire just was a bit exaggerated to a point where I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? This doesn't feel as grounded as the story is trying to be. So it kind of betrayed what I would think it was setting out to do. Also, all of these characters who are mostly cops, some people that are on the run from the cops or on the run from this drug family, this crime family, all of them know how to fight. They all know how to fucking throw shit down. They know how to get into it. And I'm like, where? This random woman we've been following this entire movie, how does she know how to beat the shit out of this guy that's been in, martial arts all of his life? How is this happening? So, there's aspects of it that are unrealistic. There are aspects that are super formulaic. The performances are good enough, but they're nothing special, and the characters aren't anything really well developed enough to be anything new. So, if you want to watch Havoc on Netflix, you can, because it's on Netflix. It's readily available. Who's the head of Netflix? Is it
Ted Sarandos?
Ted Sarandos. He had a comment about the theater industry, and
he's always got something to say.
He's got something to say because it benefits his own industry that he works in. So he has a very biased opinion, but also he's one of the biggest asshats working today, and he just happens to be in a very high up place of leadership within a company that's doing very well. Fuck you, Ted Sarandos. He mentioned, oh, yeah, you don't need to go to the theater. You can watch movies on streaming. That's what people want to do. They want to watch something from the comfort of their own home. If you want to watch B-grade bullshit on TV that you can pause and revisit and, 3 hours later, go grocery shopping in between, and then, oh, yeah, I didn't finish Havoc. I can watch that today and finish that. That's what I did. I went grocery shopping in the middle of this fucking movie. And this was a movie I was excited for because that was my favorite actor working today in it. So... Ted Sarandos, you can suck the darkest part of my fucking body until you die. You nice. I can't say that word, stupid bitch. Streaming is the death of all good creative content. I think this is just shovelable bullshit into your face. This is what made-for-TV movies used to be, or straight-to-DVD movies used to be. There's nothing special here. If you want something special, go to the theaters and watch something. If you want to see something that was seemingly thrown together as this kind of feels like, even though it has a competent crew behind it, yeah, watch it from your TV, take a break when you want to, go take a shit, go take a shower, go do the laundry, go grocery shopping, go make dinner, come back, watch 45-minute chunk, pause it, go walk the dog, come back, do whatever the fuck you want to enjoy this kind of shrivel up ball sack of a bland-ass movie. That turned into a rant.
Yeah. Fuck?
I remember that he fucking... Anytime he talked, I get mad.
Yeah. I meant to watch this week, and I didn't get around to it.
Watch it.
Maybe that's okay. You know what? I actually have not seen The Raid 1 or 2. So
watch those instead.
Yeah,
those are far better.
It provides me an opportunity to do that, and then I may watch this down the road. So we'll see. I rewatched, I should say, a very great movie from last year. I was at my mom's for Easter, and just we kind of want to watch something, and I decided to show her Sing Sing, which came out last year. We talked about it a lot during the Oscars, how it should have been nominated for Best Picture, and it should have won a lot of awards.
It should have, yeah.
Coleman
Domingo being nominated wasn't enough.
Yeah, so he was nominated, Adapted Screenplay, got Original Song as well. Didn't win any of them last year, or earlier this year, I should say. But this movie is it just blows me away. Even on a rewatch, it still is so emotional. It's about a group of men in Sing Sing prison who are part of a theater group, and it really explores resilience and humanity and just the transformative power of art through this group that they're in. And I mean, I know we've talked about it a lot, so I won't go on too long here, but one of my favorite parts of this movie is Clarence Macklin, who is a guy that joins the theater group, and he's kind of this hardened guy that he's selling drugs in the prison. And you just see him come around, and you see him getting more comfortable doing these exercises. You know, they're doing their, like, warm-ups and stuff, and he's just like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this. Like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. And you see him get into it, and they're just like, there's so many little human moments of, like, all these guys just, like, each getting in the circle and just breakdancing or, like, doing a little dance. And then there's a scene where Paul Raci, who's kind of the director of this group, he's just having them close their eyes and go around in a circle and talk about what their favorite moment in their life is. And each one is just, like, so emotional of just, like, what I want on the outside of this, what I'm striving for. And you see that through this play, and it's just such a heartwarming movie. It is, like, it just makes you feel good. With Coleman Domingo especially, he just gives such a, like, earnest and heartwarming performance where you're just rooting for this guy, and frankly, everybody in this movie, too. And I cannot recommend this movie enough. It was my second favorite movie from last year. It's on A24, puts out Blu-rays, so go buy it, or it's on HBO as well, so you can watch it there. This movie is incredible, and it's really, I think you could show it to anybody. This is one of those where it's like, this isn't offensive in any way, or kind of like, it's not a big sci-fi or big action. It's just like, this is a human story, and it's incredible.
Yeah, one of my favorites from last year as well. I believe it was in my top 5. I haven't shown it to anyone, but I think my mom would like it too. Especially, I'm guessing your mom liked it.
She was getting emotional during it. There's like just scenes where people are like, "Man, life is really fucking tough sometimes," and like that's a very obvious thing, but it's just like in those moments, it really affected my mom and me as well. Just even on a rewatch too.
No. I remember one of the best conversations I ever got to have with any of my family members in my life was it was during, like, I was still in college. It might have been post-pandemic, but I walked down into, like, the main living area, and I talked to my mom and my brother were talking. I was like, when does shit, like, just start, like, making sense? Like, when do I just know what to do? Like, when do I get it? And my mom was like, let me know when you find out, because I don't know either. And I was like, that's good to know. That's good to know that we're all in the same boat right now, that we're both just, like, trying to figure shit out. Yeah. So, yeah, I love Sing Sing. It's a great movie. Coleman Domingo gives one of the best performances of the last year, and as well as Paul Raci. I love him.
Yeah.
Clarence Macklin, he didn't get nominated for Best Supporting. He should have been,
yeah.
He was phenomenal. He honestly kind of steals the movie for the majority of it. So definitely watch Sing Sing if you haven't. Catching up on a movie from 2024 that I missed out on that I was actually really excited to see and kind of wanted to see in theaters. Another A24 movie, but it's Y2K, directed by Kyle Mooney, who has kind of been a comedic staple in terms of SNL and his writing. He wrote and acted in the movie The Brigsby Bear, I believe, which I actually really like that movie. It's kind of a more niche pick. But this film starring Jaden Martell, who's popular from the It Chapter 2 films, Rachel Ziegler, and Julian Dennison, who is Fire Fist from Deadpool 2. I know everyone loves him from that movie specifically.
Or Hunt for the Wilder.
His actually good performance from Hunt for the Wilder People. This movie is just centered around these two high school buddies that are trying to get laid and go to a party and be popular and have fun, but also it's Y2K and they don't know what's going on with that. Like, everyone's like, all right, is technology really taking over? Like, whatever. Well, actually, in this movie, technology does take over. And you get all that basically in the trailer, which I was really excited to see this movie because I was like, this looks like it could be like almost a Napoleon Dynamite styled, Nacho Libre styled, jokey, lighthearted, weird, idiosyncratic humor, but centered around Y2K with a good cast. Wow, I didn't like this movie. So boring. The humor didn't land for me almost any of the times, and this was another movie that I was able to pause and watch on streaming, so thank you, HBO Max. You let me watch this movie in chunks because I couldn't take it all in one big onslaught, so I'm happy I didn't see this in theaters. I did watch my wife. She was more excited to watch it than I probably was, and she liked it marginally better than I did. She was like, I didn't hate it, and I'm like, I think I did. It just felt like low-hanging fruit in terms of all the jokes that they told and had within the movie. It was never really anything inventive. I liked the concept was there. It's super bad except robots are taking over. Like, this is the end, almost apocalyptic style shit. So I'm like, there's a lot of, and you get Fred Durst, the lead singer of one of the wildest bands ever, being a very front leading character in this movie, at least towards the second half of the movie. kind of saves the day in Y2K, which is weird. If you want to see this movie, go see it if you want. It's not that good. I didn't like it. I will never watch this movie again. The performances are kind of shaky at times. I think there is one decent joke that made me chuckle in this 90-minute movie full with jokes. I didn't really care for it. So, happy to get that one checked off the list and watch it so I don't have to think about, what could have been? Is that movie actually good? It's not. But if you want to see it, maybe go check it out.
Shout out Limp Bizkit.
Shout out Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Did you ever watch the movie The Fanatic?
No, I haven't.
I'm pretty sure that was directed by Fred Durst.
I think it was.
And there is a scene in that movie which is fucking awesome. Is it David Sawa? I forget if his first name is David, but he's driving in the car and he's talking to his son in the movie. Movie's directed by Fred Durst, the lead singer of Limp Bizkit. And he's like, yeah, you ever heard of Limp Bizkit? You ever heard a little bit of the Biscuit? And he puts in like a Biscuit CD. He's like, oh, I fucking love these guys. And it's just so weird seeing that in a movie made by the guy from... It's like, wow, you're really just like stroking your own dick in front of us all. That's crazy. Hitting us with a Lassiter right now. That's crazy.
Bizkit.
So
crazy work.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Got one big release this week. We got another MCU movie out. We got Thunderbolts, asterisk.
They're really fucking trying hard with that asterisk.
Still sort of undetermined. I think we kind of know what it means, but we'll see in the movie. I don't know.
What do you think it means? Because I don't know what it fucking means. I've given up on trying to figure it out.
I thought like from the trailers it meant like they're calling themselves the Thunderbolts or whatever, and it's kind of like a...
Unofficial.
Well, it's like, you're not the Avengers. Like, it's the name,
it's the B
but like...
team. Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
But this is a movie we're both pumped for. Cannot wait to see it. Directed by Drake Schreier, who's done some work on the show Beef and movie Robot and Frank. You got the Suicide Squad of the MCU, essentially.
Stacked cast.
Yeah, you got Florence Pugh, Louis Pullman, Hannah John Kamen, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Olga Kurylenko, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus coming back from her other cameos in other shows and movies and things. This looks great. I mean, it's a group of not the Avengers taking on a threat.
Yeah.
Essentially. And it looks like, from some of the earlier reviews I've seen, it kind of dives into like them confronting the darkest parts of themselves, and like even I've heard references to like Inside Out 2 and like the emotions that these characters are feeling, and I don't know. So I don't know if there's any truth to that really, but I cannot wait for this one. It's a movie that when it was announced, I'm like, okay. And the trailers have come out. They've done really good marketing for this movie.
Yeah.
I've loved it, so I can't wait to see it. I know we'll both see it, and then maybe try and see it with some buddies too.
Yeah.
Maybe even next Sunday. But another MCU movie. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I already bought my ticket for this upcoming Thursday. I'm excited for it. I think looking overall for 2025, Thunderbolts is my most anticipated MCU movie, even maybe more so than Fantastic Four. It's a toss-up, but I think since we're really in the thick of Thunderbolts marketing right now, I'm really just hyped for this movie. And we got to see the A24 style trailer before Revenge of the Sith this morning, so that was really cool. I am so fucking stoked for this movie, and I've heard relatively good things coming out of just pre-screenings about the quality of this movie and it being... I've seen some people say it's one of the best MCU movies, which I'm like, okay, well, like, settle down. We'll see. But I can't wait. I like the kind of ragtag group. I'm so happy that we get to see Wyatt Russell back. Yeah. And now in a film, and to see that character develop a little bit more. I really enjoyed him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Do you want to speculate at all? Because this is one of the last movies leading into Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think... Because I don't know how this ragtag group takes down Sentry. Because Sentry is a big character. Sentry being played by Louis Pullman. Sentry is a basically Superman-level threat. And he's going up against people that basically carry guns and have a shield, and Ghost can teleport. So I'm like, I don't understand how they take out Sentry. Part of me, which I don't think I've ever said this out loud, part of me thinks Doctor Doom shows up. I don't know why. I think Doctor Doom shows up, and to show his strength, kills Sentry. I think that's like a tail end of this movie. But I also am like saying that out, like, I don't know if I would get RDJ already in a movie. Like, that doesn't feel right as Doctor Doom. So I'm like, I just don't, for the life of me, I can't understand how this team takes down Sentry. And it's gonna, that's like the biggest hurdle I think this movie has for me, is proving to me that, yeah, basically the Suicide Squad of people with guns and shields can take down this Superman-level guy.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I think for sure he'll be in First Steps, Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yeah,
like,
I think
whether
so,
it's post-credit scene or whatever. I would kind of lean more that way. yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I don't know much about Sentry the character. His powers look cool, of like turning people to shadows.
Oh, the Void. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. I'm like, that looks cool. So I'm excited. But we'll know the answer to that next week, and we can
I can't fucking.
we can play this clip back. I don't know if we know how to do that,
no,
but
we don't. And we're gonna see that I was dead wrong because I don't have like a lot of faith in it. But that's the only reasoning I can have.
Maybe
like,
you'll be
kill the Sentry.
Maybe you'll look really smart. Who knows?
I'm gonna look like a dumbass. That's fine. Aside from the big Thunderbolts release coming up on May 2nd, we do have a release of a movie that has kind of been in production for a long running process because it's been
Why
a
is that,
storied.
Mason?
It's been a storied production, and I'm gonna try and talk about this in a way that is as respectful as possible, which is coming from a person that is not a respectful person. But Rust is finally coming out in theaters, which is directed by Joel Souza. I know he has done a couple of smaller films. There's one that stood out. I haven't seen any of his previous works, but there's one that went on a little bit of a festival run called Crown Vic back in 2019 that he got some accolades for. This film is starring Alec Baldwin, Travis Fimmel, Francis Fisher, and Josh Hopkins. It's about a boy left to fend for himself and his younger brother following their parents' deaths in the 1880s Wyoming. And they go on the run with this long-estranged grandfather after he is sentenced to hang for the accidental killing of a local rancher. This is the production that was halted due to the passing of a cinematographer that was fatally shot and killed on set from a live round being discharged from a revolver. There's been court cases and kind of scandals surrounding all of this. I'm not the right person to talk about any of that shit. But the movie itself, it's weird to talk about it because I don't think I would be interested in seeing it.
No. Yeah.
Prior to all the shit that has gone down and all the bad things that have happened with it. But now that it's coming out, and now that like one of the producers of this movie that was kind of spearheading, no, we finished production on this movie, we put this movie out in theaters, is I believe the husband of the cinematographer that passed away, Hala Hutchins. So I'm like, I kind of feel more motivated to go and see it, almost out of paying respects to someone that passed away doing something that they love. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. I'm gonna see Thunderbolts first this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if I try and see if Rust is showing around us somewhere in the metro and try and catch a showtime of it. Like I said, I don't know if I would, before all that I know about it, would say I was the most interested in this. Story seems kind of generic, just Western schlock. But with what's gone into it, I'm like, I feel like it'd be like paying my dues almost to someone that passed away doing something that they were good at and that they loved. So it's sad. Yeah,
absolutely. Echo all the sentiment there. It is one of those movies where like it takes on more than like the content of the movie.
Yeah.
Something that came to mind was like the interview when that was coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And just like all the North Korea stuff. Like there's something else besides just the content of this movie. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It is something that I'm like, I do want to watch this movie at some point just to like see it and just to be like, what was this project? But yeah, like you said, it sounds like a standard Western, so maybe it'll be good. Who knows? One of the other things that's coming out this week is The Surfer. You got Nicolas Cage, so you already know you're in for an interesting time, or a committed time from Nicolas Cage. He's a man that returns to the beach of his childhood to surf with his son. Hell yeah, cowabunga. But he's humiliated by a group of locals, and he's drawn into a conflict that keeps rising and pushes him to his breaking point. Whew. That sounds like a Nicolas Cage vehicle if I've ever heard it.
I haven't seen the trailer for this.
I don't know if I have. I
don't know the tone of this at all.
I don't know. It sounds like a fun, goofy movie. I don't know if that's the vibe they're going for.
It sounds like the Goofy movie.
Oh, dude, I love a Goofy movie.
The Goofy movie is very underrated.
Yeah, it's great.
What's the sequel?
A goofier movie?
Is it?
An even more goofy movie?
Let's get goofy.
Goofy's
Goofy's big fat cock. I only say that because me and Corey have a list of things that were said back when we both lived together in the same apartment, and that is definitely on the list of just.
I don't know where it came from, but
I think one of us just out of nowhere just said, Goofy's big fat cock, and we rolled with it. So I can't. That has to be like the name of the third movie if they make one.
Yeah, for sure.
So supposedly the Surfer.
Yeah, the Surfer
is supposed to be a psychological thriller.
Maybe from the way that the synopsis was written, I was like, it sounds
this
kind of
could
fun.
be like a lighthearted thing. Maybe I should watch the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care.
This feels like something that Nicolas Cage is very proud to be in.
I just good for him.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
it. I love Nicolas Cage.
That's
That's fine enough for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to physical media roundup, we'll talk about some movies that we purchased as well as what's coming up this upcoming release week of Tuesday, April 29th. But for this past week, I did purchase a couple of movies. I got The Italian Job, which is not the Mark Wahlberg movie, I believe from 2004 or 5, early 2000s. Which I'm actually really nostalgic for that movie.
I love that movie.
I think it's kind of underrated, but I've never seen the original, so I ordered the 4K Blu-ray, the Kino Lorber exclusive edition, 1969 Italian Job release, because I'm excited to finally see that movie and see how it compares to the one that I'm more nostalgic for that I've grown up with. But I do want to see that original one, and it has Michael Caine, and I love Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
I also pre-ordered the 4K Blu-ray Steelbook for Sinners because, like I said, I think it is my favorite Ryan Coogler film, and I loved it so much last week. I can't wait to watch it again. Maybe I'll even try and catch it in theaters again before it leaves. I don't know.
Right on. Nothing for me this week. I feel like I haven't bought anything in a while. I need to change that. I'm going to go to like half price and just like buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. See if I can find something cheap. But coming out this week, we've got a few new releases. We got Paddington in Peru, which we both really liked. Last Breath, which we haven't seen. But you know what?
I heard like decent enough things, so
yeah, maybe. Then we got Anora coming out. I'm not gonna get on my thing of that.
I already pre-ordered. I pre-ordered a long time of the Blu-ray Criterion of it, and that will be getting delivered this week. So I will sit down hopefully this week and watch it with my wife because she has not seen it.
You know, I'm gonna, as much as I really don't like that movie, I'm gonna own it. When Criterion does their 50% off sale in like November, and I'm gonna buy the movie. So I'm gonna be really sad that day. Anyways, that's gonna be.
If you just want to save it for like Christmas, I can buy it for you, so you don't have to buy. It's like when I bought you.
Yeah, maybe.
Was it Morbius that I bought you?
Yeah, you bought me Morbius, the awesome 4K with the lenticular. I was like, this perfect. I didn't want to buy this.
You don't want to buy it, so like let someone else get it for you. So it's
you know,
like
that's a great
bad.
idea. Yeah, if you could buy me Nora for that'd be
Christmas.
incredible.
All right, sounds good.
I don't want to buy that thing. But then we got the Unbreakable Boy and Cleaner coming out on DVD. So if you're still rocking the DVDs, hell yeah. Then we got a bunch of 4Ks of Clint Eastwood movies. We got Dirty Harry, Outlaws, Josey Wales, and Pale Rider. So if you're looking to upgrade some of your old classic westerns, this is the week for that.
They're probably like he's probably like on his last leg. We should probably give good releases.
Yeah, we gotta get the bonus features like interviews with him now.
Yeah, before he's in the ground.
Yep. Before he does Juror number 3.
The sequel.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up grabbing Paddington in Peru at some point just because I really love that movie. And I actually kind of want to see Cleaner just because it's made by Martin Campbell. And I heard,
Daisy Ridley's in that, I think.
So, like, whatever. I'm not going to buy it on DVD because I'm not a DVD person, but I'll check it out at some point. So I'm excited to see that whenever I do. In terms of movie news, though, we got Predator Badlands releasing a new trailer, which is the next live-action directed by Dan Trachtenberg, but this time finally hitting theaters. So we got to see that trailer, as well as a Predator Killer of Killers animated trailer was released, which I hadn't watched, have not seen. I know Corey has, but Predator Badlands, like I said, is directed by Dan Trachtenberg and will star Elle Fanning. The film will follow a young Predator outcast from his clan who finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary. The film will be released in theaters, not on Hulu, on November 7th, 2025. I'm stoked for it, just based on how good Prey was. This trailer sold me. It's interesting to being back in the realm of seeing the Predator as the good guy. I feel like we rarely ever get that, so I'm excited to see how this film tackles that. Also, Elle Fanning being some sort of cyborg with the Weyland-Yutani logo glitching in her eyes. All right, let's see what's fucking happening. Where's this going to lead? So I'm sold on it. This is a movie I don't need trailers for. I'm just going to go see it. I probably will try to actively avoid trailers moving forward just because I don't need to know anything more about it. Prey was such a surprise to me, and I was really blown away by how good they were able to rework the lore of Predator and make it into something that felt new again. So I'm excited to see what Dan Trachtenberg's going to do now. Like I said, I didn't watch Predator Killer of Killers, that trailer, animated. Is that a theatrical release for that movie as well?
I think that one's going on Hulu. I know Dan Trachtenberg is a director on that movie as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think to start off with that one, the Killer of Killers, that one actually looks really interesting. It's like 3 different eras, and it's like, I think, samurai and World War II and some other thing where Predator's just like in that environment killing people, which I'm like, cool,
all right.
Give me that. I'm down. Predator Badlands, I think it's a solid trailer. Like you said, Prey is really good. I think the Predator movies work best when it's just a simple story. Mm-hmm. The original and Prey are the 2 best ones. Predator Badlands looks a little bit like, what if we had bigger predators? Again, what if we did more? What if we did bigger things? And I'm like, hopefully they rein that in a little bit. Yeah. But I'm still very excited for the movie.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Moving into a little bit more Star Wars news. We talked about Mace Windu getting his arm lopped off. Yeah. Is he alive still? I don't know. Maybe. It's possible. Bryce Dallas Howard wants him to be. After her work on some of the Mandalorian episodes.
Book of Boba Fett, she did one, I think.
Book of Boba Fett, yeah, the best episode of that show. She wants to direct a Mace Windu Star Wars project. She was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and she said, Sam Jackson's been incredibly supportive and has told me many times that he would act in something that I directed. And then started talking about Star Wars, and she was like, I went to Day Floating, and I was like, can we talk about Mace Windu? Like, is he alive? Is he dead? What's the deal? After the whole Palpatine return thing in Rise of Skywalker, anything can be possible. I don't need this. I don't want this at all. After Andor, I'm good with prequel era things, or like things in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. We've had so much.
Yeah. And we still have Ahsoka Season 2 that I'm sure is going to harken back to more of just like the prequel era.
So I don't want this. I think Bryce Dallas Howard has done good work in Star Wars television, and I'm appreciative of that for sure, but do something original. Don't go back to this character and like ruin this kind of legacy of like this inciting incident in the Empire being created.
Yeah. I don't need Mace Windu in, not necessarily, you can't really say current Star Wars just because current could mean anything because it's a galaxy far, far away. But I don't need him in like the sequel era. I don't need him in the original trilogy era. If you wanted to do more stories of Mace Windu back in the middle of the prequel like films, then fine. But also, I don't know how you could realistically do that with Samuel L. Jackson just because the man's getting old. And also Hayden Christensen in the few bits of that we've seen of him as younger Anakin Skywalker within the prequel era that they used in Ahsoka, dude looks old. He's got circles around his eyes that weren't there. So I'm like, it's not. I just let things die. One of my favorite things in The Last Jedi: let the past die. Just move on. Please. It's fine. I liked Mace Windu, and I feel like we could have gotten more from that story. Maybe not post his death. Maybe before. In my head, he's dead. It's just easier that way, just so we don't have to be like another loose end to kind of clean up and tie off. I'm like, he's just dead. Let's just. I also let him die.
Like there's name like a character trait of Mace Windu.
Stubborn asshole.
Just
like literally that.
what is his arc in the movie? Like I don't need more of
that. And like honestly, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording too. My favorite Mace Windu bits all come from the original animated Clone Wars.
Yeah,
that was made by the guy that made Samurai Jack. Like I love him in that. He is just a badass, like commanding dude. He gives General Grievous his like raspy breathing struggle thing. So
yeah,
I don't know if I need him in Star Wars again. Bryce Dallas Howard, I like your work so far in Star Wars. So continue to direct in Star Wars. Yeah. We don't need more. It's an expansive universe. Let's just keep building out. Stop looking in. Give us something new, and I'd be on board with it. Especially since Ahsoka Season 2 is probably going to still have tiebacks to the prequel era. A smaller bit of movie news that came out this past week, which, not my favorite bit of news, but you know what? It's a movie I'm excited for. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. The runtime was officially revealed, and it is looking to be 2 hours and 49 minutes long. Just a long bitch. Putting it close to 3 hours, it's only a few minutes longer than the previous Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, even though it's just Dead Reckoning now because they realized that was a horrible marketing tactic. Just a few minutes longer than that, so this will now be the longest Mission Impossible film to be in theaters. Okay.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I'm fine with it. Like, a runtime is going to be wholly dependent on the story that's being told. So if the movie can justify its runtime, then I'm fine with it. I don't think Dead Reckoning fully justified its runtime for me, just because as someone who did like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, I feel like that movie got a bit long, and also the plot of it with the enemy and like all the artificial intelligence stuff. I'm like, this is a bit convoluted, a little bit too heady. I feel like we're getting out of the realm of what we just really like nailed down with Fallout being, I think, aside from the original Mission Impossible, the best Mission Impossible movie. As long as it justifies its runtime, I'm here for it. I'm going to have to just clear out my bladder before the movie starts, probably.
I cannot wait for this movie. I don't really have an issue with the runtime. I'm fucking pumped. I think it looks sweet. Can't wait to see another adventure with Ethan Hunt.
Is this his last?
Maybe.
I think
it
it's
certainly
his last.
seems, in the marketing, they seem like one last time.
Need you to trust me one last time.
One last ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Some news in the Academy Awards world. There were some new Oscar rules put into place. We're not going to cover all of them. A lot of it is just guidelines and kind of dates that they have to submit things by. But one of the biggest things, all of the voters have to watch the nominees, all of the nominees within a given category, for them to be able to vote on it, which is an insane thing that we have to create a rule for now. That should have been like in 1932 when Wings won Best Picture. That should have been the first rule. Oh, you want to vote for which of these things is the best? You should probably watch the things and then determine if that is the best. So this is good because I don't think Anora would have won as much as it did if this was a fucking rule. I'm not going to get on that rant again. I'm going to get too fired up about it. Flo wouldn't have won. Let me tell you that much. Wild Robot would have won.
I saw a friend earlier this week. We went to Cecil's and got fucking sandwiches, which Cecil's in St. Paul is the
incredible
best food in St. Paul. But she asked me, "What'd you think of Flo?" And I was like, "It's fine. It's not my of that category. It didn't deserve to win. I will stand by that." And she was just completely gobsmacked by me not agreeing and thinking that it was the best animated anything.
The movie's fucking dick.
I think it's the best animated, but it's not the best animated movie.
I think Wild Robot's better animation.
See,
Flo looks like a child.
I'm just trying to give some flowers to the people that love Flo so that they get off my fucking back a little bit.
I think the animation is like fine, but you can tell that they just did it on their laptop of like some guys, which like that's impressive, but it still looks like a child drew it, and I'm just like, it's just a fucking animals, bro, on a boat.
In reality, what
are we doing here?
I'm fine.
Sorry. What are we doing? Sorry, I did this whole rant around. I'm not going to get into it again. Just, you whatever you're going to say. I can't do this.
What are we doing here?
I think about the Oscars and Amelia Perez and Anora and Flo. That is just the holy trinity.
We can only have 1 year with all that stuff happens, though. So next year's going to be new.
That is just
next year's new. Or this upcoming year's new. So.
You know how there's like the holy trinity? That's like the holy like devil, his trinity thing of those 3 movies in 1 year winning fucking 8 Academy Awards. It's just insane. Just talk about the other thing. I don't know.
So I'm like this rule. Talking with that same friend that because they brought up this rule to me. Like, is this like, shouldn't they have always had this rule? And I'm like, I feel like it's an expectation that you watch everything, and I feel like until recent years, maybe they're like, all right, well now we need to put a rule in place because some people haven't been. So it's more of a corrective measure. I fully expect most people were watching a lot of the nominees before they would vote, but. Also, I feel like last year I heard a lot of people coming out after voting when they were like, yeah, I didn't see Dune Part 2 because I didn't like the first one. It's like, that's not... Okay, well, you gotta fucking... What are you doing? You gotta watch that movie. You can't... So, I'm happy that this now will just hopefully restrict people to like, hey, if you want to vote in this and you want to be a verified voter in this category, you have to see everything. You need to prove that you've seen everything, whether that's through the Academy's like streaming service or... algorithm that they have to kind of vet and make sure people are watching everything or not, or if you saw something at a festival and you need to write basically a dissertation on, I saw this movie, this is what it was about, this is where I saw it, this is when I saw it, this is what I thought. Fine, whatever. I don't care. If you want to police it as much as you can, do what you can. I just want everyone, and it's kind of how I go when I talk to people that talk about the Oscars. Because I know I have people that I work with that are like, oh, fucking Cynthia Erivo should have won Best Actress for Wicked. And I'm like, well, did you see any of the other movies? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, okay. It's good that you have your opinion, but your opinion's not like you don't have a leg to stand on here. You don't have anything to compare it to. You just have what you personally thought about this one specific role in this movie. You don't have any comparison. So if you're gonna vote on something, you have to see everything. If you want to have a good opinion on, hey, in this category, I think that this one is the one that should win. As long as you've seen everything in that movie, I will take your opinion and will acknowledge it as being like, yeah, all right, this is a informed opinion. This person knows what they're talking about. If you're just like, I didn't see this movie should win. Just because it's the one of the 10 that I saw. I think Nickel Boys really needs to win because it's the one that I saw. That's not how this works.
Crazy that this has to be a rule.
I'm not like...
97 years in?
I'm
really?
I'm more just like... It is kind of upsetting. I'm like, I feel like this goes unsaid. Like, you shouldn't need to put this into place. But I'm happy that I'm mad that they had to, but I'm happy that it's now in place so that they don't have to run into this issue again.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. But yeah, hopefully this Oscars will be a little bit better. Hopefully we won't have to deal with Emilia Perez. Hopefully we'll have a Best Picture winner that we're both a little bit more excited about. And maybe animated feature will not go to Flo or The Boy and the Heron, something that maybe we deem to be a little bit better. But that's kind of the thrills and the chills of the Oscars of just like, well, fucking shit. I guess we have to love this movie now.
Wait another year.
Wait another year until all those movies that we get.
The fucking devil word gets out of my system. Jeez.
But moving into a movie I'm actually really excited about. I forgot that they were doing a sequel to, but Ready or Not, Here I Come, which I don't love that title. I get it. It's like the Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I'm like, I don't need that. Just do it. Just Ready or Not 2. But the cast has been kind of updated, and it is now adding Sarah Michelle Gellar to the list, as well as Elijah Wood, and more cast members have been announced, but those were kind of two of the bigger leading names that were really surprising to me and really exciting, as well as Catherine Newton, Kevin Durant, who paired up with the same directing duo with Abigail, and David Cronenberg actually will be acting in this movie too, which is interesting to see, as I know he has, The Shrouds is out in theaters, or some theaters.
I haven't heard anything about that movie.
Heard nothing about that. It's kind of like Crimes of the Future, where I'm like, I heard nothing about it, but there's a David Cronenberg movie out in existence that I haven't seen, so maybe I'll go see it.
Yeah.
But in terms of Ready or Not, Here I Come, I am so excited to see Elijah Wood in this. I don't know what the story is going to be about. I didn't necessarily need a sequel, but the cast that they've announced for the sequel already kind of has me excited and ready for a sequel. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first one with you in 2019, being very surprised.
I was blown away. This is Ready or Not is one of my guilty pleasure go-to. Like, oh, you're not a horror fan? Well, this is the movie I'm going to recommend to you to maybe try and entice you into liking horror movies more.
Super fun movie. Hopefully they do some fun stuff with the sequel.
Yeah, I'm excited to see David Cronenberg and Elijah Wood just doing weird horror movie turns. I'm a big fan of. But anyways, long episode today. A lot of Star Wars talk, a lot of TV talk. You can anticipate a lot of TV talk coming in, like I said, the next couple of weeks here while we have Andor and The Last of Us still coming out. But anyways, thank you for sitting and having some liquor drinks with us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, as this upcoming week I'll likely be posting reviews for The Legend of Ochi. Hopefully The Accountant 2 at some point whenever I get around to seeing that. I might put a review up for Havoc and Thunderbolts. I'm sure we'll have reviews up for that. Also, you can find us on TikTok for more reviews there. Subscribe to our podcast if you like us enough to listen to us regularly, which we only put out once a week, so it's pretty easy, even though we talk and fucking go on for like 2 hours at a time. That's fine. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
For Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.
My balls are sweaty.